Hello and welcome to Learn English Daily Podcast, the place where you can improve your English every single day. I'm your host, and together we'll explore real conversations, useful phrases, and practical tips to help you speak English with confidence. Whether you're at home, on the bus, or taking a break, this podcast is your daily companion on the journey to fluency. So relax, listen closely, and let's learn English the easy way.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep today into the actual blueprint of daily functional English conversation. We're not here to spend 6 hours memorizing conjugation tables. This is all about extracting the core phrases, the essential vocabulary.
Shortcuts.
Exactly, the structural shortcuts that let you sound natural, confident, and practical right away.
Right.
Whether you're at a social event or just like rapid fire texting a coworker.
That's so true. The sources we've pulled from, they organize the English language not by grammar chapter, but by conversational function.
And what does that mean exactly?
Well, think of it like this. If you need to make a suggestion, there is a specific set of tools for that. If you need to express uncertainty, there's another set. And this approach is, it's incredibly effective because it moves you beyond that theoretical grammar.
Right.
It focuses purely on application, which is always the fastest route to fluency.
So our mission today is to be your custom tailored map. We're going to master these functional phrases, these building blocks that English speakers use every single day. We want you to walk away with a repertoire that is clear, repeatable, and, instantly deployable.
Because confidence in a conversation, it really hinges on predictability. When you understand the basic function you know exactly how to confirm a piece of information or how to express a strong opinion without sounding rude, you get into that conversational flow so much faster.
We're looking for those structures that, once you learn them, just work every time.
Exactly.
All right, let's jump right in. Part 1, starting the conversation. Introductions, confirmations.
Yeah.
The classic icebreaker.
Meeting someone new at a party.
Right. The material gives us this great example, dialogue between a Todd and a Matt. And it's just a masterclass in informal engagement.
And what's so fascinating here is the social strategy. Todd doesn't start with some formal, cold opening. He starts with an assumption.
Yeah, and a request for confirmation.
Right, which is instantly engaging because it shows there's a shared social context. He says, "You must be John's cousin Matt, right?" It's such a low-stakes way to initiate contact.
And Matt's reply is simple, effective. Correct. I just got in last night. Then Todd just slides into the informal intro. I'm Todd, glad to meet you.
And then, and I love this part, the conversation immediately pivots to managing expectations with humor. This is so common in natural English. Todd says, "I can assure you that I'm not anything like what John has told you."
Yeah.
And that introduces this great functional phrase, "I can assure you that." Or you could also say, "You can be sure that." They're common ways of affirming a strong conviction, trying to win someone's confidence.
Often when the subject is a little bit funny or controversial.
Exactly.
So let's pull out some of the essential vocabulary from just that tiny exchange. Let's start with the functional uses of just.
Okay, this is so important. This specific use of just is crucial because it indicates that something happened only a short time before you're speaking.
And the source highlights its flexibility, which can be confusing.
Super confusing. You can use it with the simple past tense, like "I just got in last night," or with the present perfect, "I have just arrived."
And they mean the same thing.
Essentially, yes. The key insight here is that both structures just mean recently. And if you understand that flexibility, you'll be able to comprehend it much faster when you hear it.
Okay, then we have the verb phrase to get in.
So primarily, to get in means to arrive. You usually hear it when people are talking about planes or trains or cars.
So I might ask, what time did you get in?
Perfect. Or, "They got in late last night." But, and this is a big but, you have to watch out, the source mentions it has a totally unrelated meaning.
Which is?
To be accepted by a group or a school. So a student who applies to, say, Harvard, they're really hoping to get in.
Right, but the context is so different, it's usually not confusing.
Almost never. One is about arrival, the other is about acceptance.
Okay, and in the dialogue, Todd is described as a football player and party animal extraordinaire.
A great informal description. A party animal is just a witty, informal way to say someone loves socializing, loves going out, and that little addition, extraordinaire, just elevates it. It means he's an expert at it, a pro.
And Matt has been promised a non-stop schedule. I think we can all relate to
A
that.
nonstop schedule, yeah. It just describes a really busy person, work, social life, school, and there are great alternatives you can use for variety.
Like what?
You could say around the clock or 24/7 to emphasize the duration.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Exactly. And if you want to say the busy schedule is made of different things like sightseeing and camping, you'd say it's a mix of activities.
Okay, let's move on to the foundational structures. Politeness, confirmation. The customary reply is one of those things where just following a simple rule makes you sound so much more natural.
It's a must. You have to use phrases like, I'm glad to meet you, or it's nice to meet you, but the real nugget is the standard reply.
Which is?
I'm happy to meet you too, or it's nice to meet you too. But here's the key pronunciation tip from the sources. The core words, glad, happy, nice too, they're all pronounced just slightly louder than the others.
Ah, so that little bit of vocal emphasis signals sincerity.
It does. It's a nonverbal cue that's really critical.
Okay, let's analyze confirmation tags. We saw Todd use
Right. Is the classic informal confirmation request, this train goes to Washington, right? You're just looking for validation.
and the informal answer, like Matt used, is just,
Correct. Correct. Or if you want to deny it, you put the emphasis on the negative. No, that's not right. Or, no, I am not Matt.
but let's pause on a huge nuance here that flips the meaning completely. The sarcastic confirmation.
Yes. You're right.
This one is dangerous.
It's all about the tone. It is 100% reliant on tone. If you say, yeah, right, with this sort of descending, exaggerated intonation, it means the exact opposite of agreement.
It means, I don't believe you, or that's nonsense.
Precisely. Like if someone says, I heard you just won the lottery, you'd reply, yeah, right, I can't even afford lunch.
So that's a real challenge for our listeners, right? How do you coach someone to get that tone right without accidentally sounding aggressive?
You have to practice that descending tone, that little pause. The sarcasm is conveyed in the slow, almost mocking delivery. My advice. If you're ever unsure, just don't use it.
Safer to use something more literal.
Much safer. Say, are you serious? Or, I don't believe that. Because if you try for sarcastic and you miss the tone, you just risk sounding rude.
Good advice. Okay, moving on. The power of short tag answers. Things like am, do, etc. This is a bottleneck for so many learners.
It really is. They default to these long, complex sentences when a simple short tag is all you need for a natural flow.
And the fundamental rule is about contraction and emphasis.
Yes. If the answer is affirmative, yes, I am, yes, I do, the tag emphasizes the verb and they are never contracted. You say, yes, I am, or yes, I do, with the verb slightly louder. It conveys certainty.
But the negative tags are where the social insight really comes in.
Exactly. For a normal, non-emphatic negative answer, you usually contract them. No, I don't. No, he isn't. That's the default.
But if you use the full uncontracted form.
Now you're making the denial much more emphatic. No, I am not. No, he is not.
So if I choose to say, no, I do not eat meat, instead of no, I don't, I'm telling you this is a strong preference, maybe a belief.
Or just a fact you really want to stress. It's an incredibly powerful conversational tool. The uncontracted form signals strong emotion or emphasis. Master this, and your conversation just sounds so much more fluid.
All right, let's move beyond the basics. Part 2 is about expressing personality, your likes, dislikes, opinions. Let's start with that fine line between like versus love.
This is all about the object of the verb. When love refers to people, it indicates deep affection. And we often use the phrase being in love for that initial romantic excitement.
So you could say her husband clearly loves her, but she's no longer in love with him.
A perfect and slightly sad example. It's about the emotional status. But when love refers to a thing or an activity, a book, a song, ice cream, it's just a much stronger like.
Do you like that restaurant? Yes, I love it.
Exactly. It allows for that dramatic expression without implying an emotional bond.
Okay, we have to talk about the like filler.
Ah, yes. The infamous like. It's slang. A lot of purists hate it, but it is extremely common, especially among younger speakers.
So when someone says, I'm, like, really mad at him, what is, like, actually doing there?
It's functioning almost entirely as an intensifier or a pause marker. It helps the speaker relay their immediate, dramatic, emotional state. It was like the worst movie I've ever seen.
Right. Now, the source material pushes learners to vary their vocabulary, to move beyond just good or bad.
Yes, and the vocabulary lists are fantastic here. The source notes how overused awesome is.
So what are some alternatives?
Great, fantastic, terrific, wonderful, cool, amazing. Just swapping out awesome for terrific sometimes instantly diversifies your language.
And on the negative side,
We have terms for strong dislike. Horrible, terrible. If a movie was sad, you could call it depressing. For food that's unappetizing, you'd use gross or disgusting. Learning these different shades of meaning is key.
okay, let's look at two key functional verbs. Can't stand versus up for.
So, can't stand is pretty straightforward. It just means you have a strong aversion to something, you can't tolerate it. He left because he couldn't stand the noise.
And the opposite.
To be up for something. It means you want to do it, you're willing to participate. You can replace it with to feel like doing something or to be in the mood for.
Are you up for trying that new Mexican place tonight?
Perfect. And if you want to ask for an opinion, the standard way is just, what do you think of? Simple, direct.
And for those moments when you want to express that something is obviously true or untrue, we have that great exclamatory challenge. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? I love this one. It's a conversation accelerator. It demands an immediate, emphatic response. Someone asks, do you like hiking? And you say, are you kidding me? I'd rather hike than sit at home.
It shows it's an emphatic yes.
Or an emphatic no. You want me to wake up at 5 a.m.? Are you kidding me?
Okay, here is a really crucial breakdown that trips up so many people. Tell versus say.
This is a persistent error because the rules are simple, but they're very strict. The core difference is that tell is almost always followed by an object pronoun or a name. It needs a direct object.
Tell me. Tell Susan.
Right, whereas say is just about making an utterance. You don't have to specify who it's directed at. What did he say?
But the really tricky part is how it messes with indirect questions. A direct question reverses the verb order. Who is she? But when that question follows, tell me, it has to go back to the standard statement order.
And this is a hallmark of natural, fluent structure. You have to avoid the auxiliary do or does and that subject-verb reversal. The correct way is, tell me who she is.
Not, tell me who is she?
Right. Or, tell me what you do for a living. Not, tell me what do you do. If you can master this one structural shift, your conversations will instantly sound more native.
Okay, wait. Let me push back on that. If the rule is so clear, tell me who she is, I feel like I constantly hear native speakers, especially in informal contexts, say, tell me who is she?
That's a great question.
So is the source being too prescriptive here? Or is that just a common error we should tell learners to avoid?
It's a perfect illustration of prescriptive grammar versus descriptive language. You're right. Many native speakers casually get that structure wrong.
So what's the advice?
For a learner aiming for clarity and correctness, stick to the standard. Tell me who she is. It's always correct, especially in formal writing or professional communication. It's the safest and clearest path.
Good to know. And what about the special fixed uses of tell?
They often carry strong emotion. Don't tell me shows you're anticipating something bad. Don't tell me the flight is canceled.
And I tell you.
That's for emphasis.
I tell you, that movie is the best one this year. And critically, you only use tell with the truth. He always tells the truth.
Okay, moving to conversational flow. One of the most powerful transitional phrases, speaking of which. Such a smooth signal. It basically tells the listener, hey, we were just talking about topic A, and that reminded me of related information B.
I'm applying to the state university. Speaking of which, did you know Melissa is going there?
Perfect. The alternative, which reminds me works exactly the same way. Using these bridges helps you maintain the pace and logic of a conversation.
Okay, finally in this section, let's look at describing things. Starting with, what is it like?
So to be like, is the functional structure you use specifically when you're asking for a description of character or quality? What's his new boss like? Or what's your new apartment like?
Which is very different from asking, what does he like? Which is asking about preferences.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Now, we also have to distinguish between similarity and, well, seeming or guessing.
What do you mean?
You need to separate. Look like, smell like, sound like, which express direct similarity. She looks just like her sister, from the phrases, it looks like, it smells like, it sounds like.
Ah, so those indicate a guess about what's happening.
Exactly. It looks like it's going to rain means I'm guessing based on the dark clouds.
Got it. And to introduce core information or a summarized opinion, we have a few handy expressions.
We do. Basically is your signal for summarization. Well, basically the plan is to leave early. Then you have actually, and the truth is, or as a matter of fact.
And you use those when you're about to tell someone a surprising or confirming piece of information.
That's it. I'd like you to meet my brother. As a matter of fact, he's right over there.
Now, what about the logic of explanation? The phrase "I mean."
I mean is what you say right before you elaborate or clarify something you just said.
Yep.
You could also use, in other words, or that is.
She's a great student. I mean, she gets straight A's and never misses a class.
Perfect. It just ensures your listener is following your detailed point.
And finally, structuring a convincing argument for a debate or an email or just trying to convince a friend.
Clarity here is everything. You start with "in the first place." Your next point is introduced by "second" or, more conversationally, "plus."
And for the final killer point that wins the argument.
You use "not to mention that" or to top it all off. This structure just guarantees your argument is easy to follow and that your points are weighted correctly.
Okay, part 3. Initiating and planning. Let's start with those conversations that come from unexpected meetings. First, the difference between two simple greetings. What's up? And what are you up to?
It's a subtle but important difference. "What's up?" is basically just an extremely informal "how are you?" The expected answer is often, "Oh, not much."
It's not really a question.
Not really. But "what are you up to?" is an actual question. It asks what you've been doing lately. You'd answer with specifics, "just working," or "we've been planning a trip."
And when that meeting is truly unexpected, we have some great idioms.
We do. "Run into" is the most common. "I ran into my old roommate at the store." And "fancy running into you here" is a slightly more enthusiastic way to express surprise.
Or you could just say, what a coincidence.
Yep. They all communicate that sense of serendipity.
The source also gives us some great phrases for timescales.
Right. For ages or in ages, both just mean for a very long time. If you run into someone you haven't seen in years, you'd say, "Wow, I haven't seen you in ages."
And the opposite.
Before you know it. It means very quickly. It's often used to reassure someone, "This project seems long now, but before you know it, we'll be finished."
Okay, let's talk about one of the most versatile and, frankly, difficult structures for learners.
Yeah.
Used to. It has multiple distinct meanings.
This is a 3-part system you really have to pay close attention. First, you have to be used to something. This means you have a custom or habit. You're familiar with it.
So I live in Alaska, so I am used to the cold weather.
Perfect. And notice the "to" is followed by a noun or a gerund. The second meaning is all about the past.
That's used to do.
Right. This indicates a past habit or situation that is no longer true. She used to live next door to us, which implies she doesn't now. The key function is that it establishes a clear break with the present.
Okay, the source also highlights the difference between trying things on and trying things out.
Simple distinction. Try on is specifically for clothing, shoes, accessories. You're checking the fit.
The fitting room is for trying on clothes.
Exactly. Try out is for equipment. A car, software, a new camera. You're seeing how it functions or how you handle it.
And there's another use of try.
Oh, right. The modest reply, "I try." Someone compliments you, "You're a fantastic cook," and you just say, "Thank you, I try."
Moving into future planning and hope. Let's talk about fingers crossed and being pumped.
To have one's fingers crossed is a great physical idiom. It means you have a strong desire or hope that something good will happen. "I have my fingers crossed that I get the job."
And to be pumped.
We're all fired up. It just means you're very excited, enthusiastic, and ready for something.
Yeah.
The team is so pumped for the game tonight.
And when we're dealing with expectations, especially financial ones.
We have bank on and splurge. To bank on something means to rely on it or count on it. We can't bank on getting that loan until it's approved.
And splurge.
To spend more money than necessary on something you really want. The more negative version of that is to go overboard.
And we absolutely need phrases for avoiding premature conclusions.
These are wonderful idioms. To get ahead of oneself and to count one's chickens before they hatch. They both warn against making plans based on something that's still uncertain.
He's only been on one date with her, and he's already picking out wedding rings.
Whoa, don't get ahead of yourself. Exactly.
All right, let's circle back quickly to that smooth transitional flow marker, which reminds me.
It's the perfect bridge. You use "wit," which reminds me, or speaking of which, anytime you recall a related idea, it keeps the dialogue engaging and logically connected.
Okay, part 4, managing life. Scheduling, needs, polite requests. Let's start with the rigid rules of prepositions. EN, ON, and AT. This is a place where learners try to apply logic, and it just doesn't work.
They're non-negotiable boxes. You just have to memorize them. So IN is for the biggest chunks of time. Months, years, seasons, general periods of the day.
In October, in 2024, in the morning.
Right, but there's a critical, non-logical exception.
You always say at night.
Always. Now, N is for days and specific dates, and for street names. On Friday, on May 15th, the store is on Main Street.
And AT is for the specific time and the specific street number or a general location.
At 8 p.m. at 123 Main Street, or a general location. The concert is at the stadium. If you can learn these fixed systems, you solve so much confusion about time and place.
Now let's take the time to really break down the modal auxiliary system. These verbs are the core functional grammar.
We need to slow down here because modals are the engine of English nuance. Let's group them by function, starting with prediction and certainty, will, won't.
So will is for a future prediction with a high degree of certainty. The show will start on time.
Right. It's also for asking and accepting favors. Will you help me? Yes, I will. Won't is the refusal. And if you want to soften that prediction just a little, you say will probably. That's like 75% probability.
Okay, next up, ability and permission. Can, couldn't.
Can is for present ability. She can speak 3 languages. Couldn't is for past inability. I couldn't swim when I was a kid. Can also gives permission. You can borrow my car.
And then we have possibility and soft permission. Maybe. This is around 50% probability, right?
Exactly. It may rain tomorrow, or she might be late. Maybe is an adverb, so it goes at the beginning. Maybe they'll be late. And may is also the most formal way to ask for permission.
Could feels incredibly multifunctional.
It is. Besides being the past of can, could is widely used for suggestions. You could try the soup. Or for very polite requests for permission. Could I use your phone?
So using could instead of can just makes you sound more polite.
Instantly.
Okay, moving to advice and obligation. Should, ought to.
Should is for direct or indirect advice. You should see a doctor. Ought to means the same thing, but it's a bit less common and you never use it in a question or a negative.
And finally, the high-stakes modals. Must not, and have to, supposed to.
Okay, must has 2 separate meanings. First, it indicates probability based on evidence. He left 2 hours ago, so he must be home by now.
And the negative for that is not contracted.
Crucially, yes. She must not be home. Her car isn't there. The second meaning is prohibition or strong advice, and for that you use must not, or the contraction mustn't. You mustn't touch that.
That distinction, uncontracted for probability, contracted for prohibition, that is a fantastic piece of nuance.
It really is.
Right.
Now, have to you indicates a personal necessity or obligation. I have to go to the dentist.
As opposed to.
That's about following a customer expectation. You're not supposed to talk during the movie.
Okay, we've established the obligation spectrum. Now let's refine needs and desires with need versus want versus would like.
Need is urgent. It's a requirement. I need water. Want is a desire you believe you can achieve. I want to buy a new car.
And would like.
That's a desire that may or may not be possible. It's the most polite, most tentative form. We would like a bigger house, if we can afford it. Using would like is always safer and more diplomatic than using want.
You mentioned you wanted to dwell on the functional chameleon that is the word mind.
Absolutely. It's so tricky because it's a noun, the brain, but it's also a verb with so many meanings. It can mean to tolerate, I don't mind the noise. It can mean to take charge of a shop. Or it can mean to babysit.
Okay, let's use a scenario for that counterintuitive polite request with mind.
Right. Someone asks you, do you mind if I used your phone? They're asking if you tolerate the idea.
So if you're okay with it, you have to say no.
Exactly. No, I don't mind, or not at all. If you answer, yes, I mind, you're saying no, and it's considered pretty abrupt.
That is a huge insight. The polite question dictates a counterintuitive answer.
Mm-hmm. And then you have all the set phrases. Have in mind, make up your mind, change your mind, of course, never mind.
Let's round this out with some practical vocabulary for homes. Utilities, all the bells and whistles, go to, and a heads up.
Okay, utilities are your essential services. Water, electricity, all the bells and whistles refers to all the modern, luxurious, expensive features.
And go to.
That's your dependable person or place for a specific need. That cafe is my go-to for good coffee. And a heads up is vital. It's a warning, some advance notice.
Okay, Chapter 7. The spectrum of requests. Urgency and politeness are key.
The spectrum ranges from high command to ultimate diplomacy. Strongest is the direct command. Call the police.
And the most polite requests use those conditional forms.
Right. Could you please is more polite than will you. Would you please is even more polite. And the most formal is that mind construction. Would you mind helping me? Followed by the nanning form.
And finally, offering assistance.
You match your offer to the urgency. An emergency. Use the immediate all plus verb. I'll call an ambulance. A need is obvious but not urgent. Use Would you like me to?
And for a sincere offer to someone you know well.
The open-ended question, is there anything I can do for you?
All right, part 5. We're in the realm of emotional and descriptive language, dealing with doubt and frustration. Let's start with I wonder.
I wonder expresses an unanswered question. And structurally, it's so important because the word order has to flip back to a statement. You ask, where is she? But you state, I wonder where she is.
Just like with the tell me structure.
Exactly. It signals sophistication.
Okay, let's detail the complaint vocabulary. This is the language of serious frustration.
We've got some great idioms. Out to get someone means you feel they want to harm you. My boss is out to get me.
On someone's case.
Constantly criticizing them. My parents are always on my case about my grades. And take it all out on is when you transfer your anger to an innocent person.
And when someone just won't help.
They don't lift a finger. And for ignorance, they don't have a clue.
And when you've finally had enough.
You're sick and tired. You can no longer tolerate it. Or you throw in the towel. You give up.
But on the positive side, we have phrases for providing support.
Right. You can cry on someone's shoulder. You can cheer someone up. And you can assure them you're reliable with phrases like, count on me or I'll be there for you.
Okay, chapter 9. Talking about the future. You wanted to structure this around probability.
Yes, let's use a 5-point scale. 99% probability is for scheduled events using the present tense. The train leaves at 8. Or for promises using will, I will be there.
And for things that are almost certain, are near future plans.
That's 95% probability. You use going to or gonna or the present progressive, we're going to move or we're leaving tomorrow. The intention is already set.
And if we soften that certainty?
75% is will, probably. She'll probably be late. 50% is may or might, often when the outcome is out of your control.
And the really distant, low certainty predictions.
That's 10% probability, and we use will again, but for these broad, distant guesses, in 100 years, people will live on Mars. You have to use context to know if will is a promise or a guess.
Okay, the final major function, narrating and retelling. We need chronological markers.
For any story, you need clear markers. First, second, next, then, after that, finally. They're essential for the listener. And for summarizing the result, you can use the upshot or the bottom line.
And for that shocking, sudden moment in a story.
Those are your interrupting events phrases, all meaning without warning. All of a sudden, suddenly, out of nowhere, out of the blue.
Now, we had to dedicate some real time to this last big grammar topic, retelling structure, direct versus indirect discourse.
This is a huge area for errors. The rule is all about the communicating verb. If it's in the present tense, Joe says, the reported speech stays in its normal tense.
But if the communicating verb is in the past, Joe said, everything shifts back.
The sequence of tenses shifts backward. Let's do an example. Direct quote. I am moving. Indirect report. Joe said he was moving. Simple present becomes simple past.
What if the direct quote was already in the past? I went to the meeting.
Then it becomes past perfect. She said she had gone to the meeting, and future will becomes the conditional would. He said he would call me.
And we also have to remember things like today shifts to that day.
Yes, and here shifts to there. It's all about maintaining that logical consistency from the new past tense perspective.
Okay, we have to end with electronic conversation. It's just a massive part of modern life.
Starting with email, you need to know the domain suffixes. They tell you about the organization. .com is commercial, .edu is education, .gov is government, and so on.
And texting is all about efficiency, cutting corners.
Yep. Omitting vowels, using abbreviations, CN for can, HV for have. It's its own functional dialect.
So let's quickly review the essential acronyms.
These are non-negotiable. ASAP, as soon as possible. BTW, by the way. FYI, for your information. LOL, laugh out loud. OMG, oh my God. RSVP, please reply. And TTYL, talk to you later.
And the source notes that tone symbols, like a smiley face, are necessary to provide context.
They absolutely are. They do the work that your tone of voice does in person.
We covered a tremendous amount of ground today. I mean, from the most polite requests to the fastest texting shortcuts. But if there's one central lesson to pull from this, what is it?
It's that mastering a reliable set of functional phrases is the most efficient path to conversational confidence.
When you focus on the function, how to agree, how to suggest, you gain that confidence because you have the ready-made structures that people actually use.
We detailed how to introduce yourself, how to use those emphasizing tags for agreement, the full range of polite requests from could to would you mind, the huge difference between say and tell.
So our suggestion for your application this week is practical. First, practice using those short tag answers.
Well,
Really stress the verb in the affirmative. Yes, I do. Second, force yourself to use a flow marker, like speaking of which, or, by the way, a couple times a day to link your ideas. And third, really pay attention to the word order difference between a direct question and an indirect one after tell me.
And here's a final provocative thought for you to consider. Our source material teaches us that in spoken English, sarcasm or enthusiasm is signaled by tone and emphasis. Like the vocal stress on, yeah, right. But if so much of our English is now communicated through text, through acronyms, how does a learner master those nonverbal cues when they're limited to just symbols? What new tools must you acquire to convey complex emotions like subtle doubt or high-stakes conviction purely through the typed word?
That really highlights the ongoing challenge of mastering tone in a language where so much meaning is implied, not explicitly stated. We hope this deep dive helps you move a little closer to sounding effortlessly natural.